Hey Stargazers, my name is Alexander and I'm the developer of Astrology and Astrology, which is astrological healing. You can check out more to learn more about that or get a session or whatnot on rxander.com. I'll put a link in the description below. But this video, this is a vortex reading. We're talking about Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in the solar system. Astrologically, I mean, it's not as big as the sun, but um, it's a very big planet. And when it's moving into a new sign, it's moving into Capricorn on December 2nd, 2019. So it's moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn. And when Jupiter is moving signs, we really feel it because it's so big. So for example, when Jupiter moved in, when it was about to, during the time when Jupiter was moving into Scorpio, which is ruling over sex and secrets and stuff like that, all of the sexual misconduct in Hollywood, and then the Me Too movement, that all started when Jupiter was moving into Scorpio. So, and then Jupiter in Sagittarius, there was expansions of consciousness, also expansions of learning and putting the things that we learned about in Scorpio into action, into testing it out in Sagittarius. And now in Capricorn, it's gonna fortify what has been tempered in Sagittarius. So there's a lot going on, lots of exciting things, but mostly what we need to know is a series of different challenges and blessings that the Jupiter in Capricorn has to offer us. So for example, just for reference, because in Dash Astrology we always use the tarot as the understanding. So Jupiter is ruled by what's called the Wheel of Fortune, okay? And Capricorn is ruled by what's called the devil, right? So the devil rules over many different things. Some of them include half-truths, also codependency, as well as the ability to be liberated from the chains, right? And in Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune represents blessings and miracles, expansion and teachers. It indicates growth that we need to go through so that we can expand our vessel, so that we can receive more, so that we can bring potential into actual. So the planet Jupiter brings changes of events. It brings us changes of situations and asks us to become proactive with our changes that we need to make in our life. Otherwise, what happens is that Jupiter begins to recycle reality. So this is a blessing. It wants to make things easier for us, but at the same time, it's like if we don't make the change, then what's going to happen is we're going to go on what's called like a rerun, like in a sitcom, where then we get another chance and we get another chance and we get another chance and we get another chance where there's no change. It might be a new situation, or no, put it this way, it might be new people, it might be a new environment, but it's the same situation over and over and over again until we're able to make that change. So it's like a sitcom reruns when you're watching the same old thing over and over and over again. And even if we don't recognize it, we might think or trick ourselves into it being new, but it's really not, okay? So that's what Jupiter is doing when transiting Jupiter, okay? Now Capricorn, the devil, okay, it rules over material illusions. And chances are that we will not especially recognize reruns during Jupiter and Capricorn, because there's the illusions that we're not aware of, and then there's the spinning, the recycling. So we will be asked to really expand our material world by making changes, or even as they are being presented, or even before they are being presented. So change is the only constant that we have in this universe. It's the only thing that we can count on is change. And when we resist change, what happens? When we resist change, we suffer. So in our birth charts, Capricorn represents the area of the greatest suffering that we will have in our life. Okay, and everybody has Capricorn in their chart somewhere, because it indicates the darkest area of our life. So it's the winter solstice. Capricorn is representing that winter solstice when it's getting really dark and then the light starts to grow from there. That's the darkest day of the year, but then the light comes from there. So you need to keep this in mind, that that darkest area allows us to bring in the greatest light. That's the energy of Capricorn. Now with Jupiter in Capricorn, that planet of expansion, we can either suffer a lot or bring in tremendous amount of light. Okay? So what is suffering? Well, suffering comes about when we are attached to things, when we are essentially attached to illusion. Now, if you want to know where in your chart this is happening, or you want to see what planets are going through, or you want to develop a game plan for this year, because this is a year-long transit, book a reading with me, no problem. I'll put a link in the description, and we can, develop a game plan for you to make the most out of this Jupiter transiting through Capricorn, because it only happens once every 12 years. Now, back to suffering. So, in order to really avoid suffering, we need to watch out for expanding our attachments and our delusions, because Capricorn is ruled by, again, that archetype of the devil. It's that devil archetype. And in this archetype, we see the man and the woman, okay? And they are chained to the material world. Now, ideally, neither the man or the woman are enslaved by their chains to the material, okay? Like they are able to take them off and free themselves and change their reality as they need to, okay? Now, freedom is something that is the beauty and the blessing of this world. Yet too many of us choose to live limited within the world of illusion by thinking it's much more than it is. Okay? You think of Cyphus from the Matrix. He wanted to go back to the Matrix after he had already been liberated. Now, paradoxically, in this world, we need to have these chains that we have in the devil. However, we decide how tight the chains are, as we have the choice at any moment to take them off. So whenever we forget this truth, we become illusioned by the material and chained to it due to our attachments. So Jupiter in Capricorn is going to push our understanding of attachments and the entire material world. Yes. So we will personally and collectively be pushed and guided to really free ourselves from the parts of the material world that we are chained to and that we are illusioned by. So the reward for this Jupiter in Capricorn transit, or this challenge, could be a lot of blessings, a lot of fortune, think manifestation, and the ability to have all of your intentions come true, if our heart is in it. And if our mind is online with it, then nothing can block the channels of manifestation, because Jupiter represents manifestation and Capricorn is an earth sign of the material. So the combination really makes for a powerful magnet of revealing what you intend on. So as Jupiter brings many opportunities and many blessings and many chances for us to reach our potential and our true self, while it's in Capricorn, we will be brought opportunities for material and spiritual success, because they are one and the same. And when we understand that the spiritual and the material are one of the same, we really understand the true secret to manifestation. If we fail, on the other hand, to seize these moments, we will again take another spinner on the wheel where everything is the same and we're masking it up as before so that we can get it again. There's nothing wrong with that. The universe is giving us lots of opportunities to be able to get it down. But Capricorn, because again, that energy of time, it's up to us how long we want to take, how honest we want to be. That's the thing. Now, another catch is that whenever we are spinning around, okay, on the wheel of fortune, right, with that Jupiter energy, living in a rerun reality, without any new content, we will never know it. We won't. We won't know it. We only know if we've broken out of a rerun loop, binge, once we see the rerun for what it is. This is a paradox, but it's just the way that it is. Okay? So this is something that we need to look out for, and our spiritual work can help us to get out of these reruns. But with Jupiter in Capricorn, we need to be careful of false prophets selling half-truths. So there's two really big things there that we need to understand about is false prophets and half-truths, which is ruled by Capricorn, the devil. So in a world of increasingly spiritual systems and fictions, Jupiter in Capricorn is not going to make it any easier to decipher reality from half-truths, because Jupiter represents the merciful teacher, right? Whereas Saturn, the other planet that's also in Capricorn, represents the strict, the wrathful teacher. Both of these teachers in the same sign of Capricorn, they want us to learn our lessons. They're going to be teaching us our lessons with both methods. So let's think about, again, just like with half-truths. So if we take the story of Lucifer, the fallen angel, which is connected to the devil archetype, this is a very famous story, and Lucifer wanted to be greater than God, okay? So what this means for us is that we need to be careful of competition with reality. What the heck does that mean? So with Jupiter and Capricorn, we might just exaggerate our personal truth and mistake it for truth with a capital T. So this is a huge spiritual trap where we sacrifice spiritual laws and spiritual or just integrity for what's called relativism, okay? And with relativism, we adopt attitudes like, that doesn't apply to me because I don't believe it. Well, this is a half-truth, because Jupiter and Saturn are there to tell us, and this is something I always tell my clients, in the case of truth, belief is not required. Belief is not required. Okay? So again, it's again the same teaching like with the wall. There's a wall, right? And if I don't believe that I cannot, okay, put it this way. The wall's there, and I think I can just walk through the wall because I don't believe the wall's there. Doesn't work that way. You first need to know that the wall's there. You need to understand the spiritual laws of the wall. And then, yes, you will be able to walk through the wall. Of course you can walk through the wall, but not just by suppressing or ignoring the truth that there's a wall. So anyhow, this is the trap of the devil archetype, which rules over half-truths. So we think we can pick and choose what applies to us in this world or in the spiritual context, which is everything. So we think that we are God, and how we perceive it and how we define it is how it is. So we can dismiss scientific and spiritual rules and attack and reject all moral and spiritual ethics. Why? So the ego can have its sense of freedom. I'm not subject to those rules. I'm free. So we will learn that this kind of like force, this declared supposed quote unquote freedom, is installed into place to excuse the ego from being self-responsible for its actions and its movements. So the sacrificed responsibility, which is our personal power, which we get from our solar vortex, is then projected onto some external cause, and that cause becomes our scapegoat, because then we blame that for enforcing something onto me, and that's just not the way it is. Nobody is superior to divine truth, or even, the great masters of all times who have paved the spiritual path for us. So our way of seeing reality, we need to accept that it is not superior to the absolute. And if we can't do that, then we are no different than Lucifer. Yet if we insist that we that we know better, then we're going to rerun on that wheel of illusion until one day we break or someone breaks us out of it. So again, in the case of truth, belief is not required and spiritual rules need not be hated or rejected. And if they are, it's an indication of some kind of ego control. So then what happens after that is that we are led into what's called wishful thinking, which has nothing to do with intention setting or focus or concentration. And it's really like a poison within the manifestation process or the attractor fields. So one way to get over this is to tolerate and elevate the dark side, okay, that Capricorn energy, the darkness, and to know that it's not infecting you. Okay, if we are rejecting it, then it's affecting us, right? And it's infecting us. Same with astrology. If we reject it, then it's going to have more control over us. I can just tell you from a personal experience, like I recently learned about healthy attachment, so which was throwing a wrench into my lifetimes of Buddhist training, which really taught me to sever all and any attachments as fast as I can. So I have until now had a very easy time letting go of people and things with no hesitation whatsoever. Burning bridges, cutting people off, it just seemed like the obvious choice when faced with seemingly toxic or actually toxic people or situations. I also understood that the universe would always provide the next version of that person that I was cutting off in a higher form if I did my inner work of growth and transformation. Most of my relationships are generally work-based, and um, I don't really have a void of loneliness that would need constant refilling with social interaction. So the context is usually about some kind of purpose. Yet, I never considered that maybe I was violating one of my promises to elevate people, okay? And I thought this is really selfish of me to just cut people off and to not stick with them through their darkness. So, and that's only in these situations like where I want to cut people off. Of course, I'm there for people and that's not what I'm saying. It's only in the context where it's like, okay, I need to get rid of this person, whatever, and to not stick with them, okay? So I think a big part of this was because I actually dealt with a lot of toxic people in my childhood. It was really hard for me to discriminate between people being toxic and people having toxic behavior. Okay, so I would even go to the extreme of demonizing them to make it easier to ghost them. This was also a really big mistake and even a bigger violation of my will to elevate people. Now, at the same time, there's a caveat, there's something tricky that we need to understand because we cannot fake the healthy part of attachment. Because if I would just stick around endlessly enabling toxic behavior and call it healthy attachment, I am most likely attached maybe not to that person, but to some self-image, some idea about myself. So when I learned about healthy attachments, which is like, I realized that my non-attachment was really an attachment in disguise as freedom. That freedom that the ego wants, remember? So it was only in that moment, you guys, when a lesson that I learned many years ago took on a deeper meaning. So years ago, I accepted and learned that true freedom only comes by obeying rules, namely the spiritual laws of the universe. As the famous, artist Pablo Picasso said, one needs to know the rules in order to break them. And there you have freedom. You choose to obey the rules, and then like you have the flow, or you break the rules and you have consequences. And that's the freedom. Okay? So until we know the rules set in place by the emperor, okay, the emperor tarot, right? Which then are manifested with the devil, the material world, we're going to operate in what's called half-truths. And the emperor gives us the whole vision. So then we can see the whole truth. Okay? So the beautiful thing, you guys, is that in our hearts we are all attracted to truth, yet the ego will edit our understanding of truth in order to keep us chained to illusion. So take my bridge burning addiction, for example. I was doing that, okay? I was doing what I wanted and calling it non-attachment, when really it was separation in a kind of holier than thou way. This is a lot of half truths. I was spinning it to myself that it was the best for both of us, okay? Because I wasn't feeling good with this person, as if feeling good has anything to do with the relationship or elevating the other person. So here's the thing about truth. It can never be spoken about, because as soon as you start to speak about truth, it's already not truth. But the closest thing that we can get to speaking about truth is when we're talking about paradox. Okay? So when we're talking about paradox, we know that we're talking about truth. Meanwhile, you guys, half-truths and easily understood memes, they are everywhere. They are plastered all over social media, they are plastered all over the media, and many are entertained by the hundreds of them that are posted all the time. So we all do it. It's one of the greatest tricks the devil ever played on us, is to hide the truth right under our nose without ever challenging us to really integrate it or make a lifestyle out of it. So with Jupiter transiting Capricorn, okay, so back to Jupiter transiting Capricorn, half-truths will be exposed, and we might even see some people freak out about it. Or half-truths and relativism might get reinforced, as many people who operate within half-truths only get half the picture and they spin the rest, as in, making it up as they go to reinforce their ego beliefs until one day it all crashes in their face. So I'm just trying to motivate anyone on the verge of moving out of half-truths to do it as soon as possible, because once again, we have the free will to take the chains off. So Jupiter, that great expander, is going to push us out or deeper into illusion. So the direction that we take is up to us, and this brings up another issue regarding free will and fate, which is connected to Jupiter. So we all have free will, all right? And what most of us identify as free will is just really fate. Fate is really nothing more but our karmic winds deterring us from our destiny. So karmic winds, what is karmic winds? Karmic winds are our propensities and reactive behaviors blowing back on us from actions that we have set into motion in the past. So in the material world bound by illusion, every cause has an effect. We can transcend it, but in order to do that, we need to transcend what's called duality. So right, wrong, good, bad, yin, yang. And in order to do that, we need to raise our level of consciousness to a level that will allow us to at least temporarily step away from our ego-based desires and into a field of union with everything and everyone, into the field of unconditioned love, where we are in the absolute agreement with the way things are. So you guys, that's all within our potential and is inherent in our destiny. But the time that it takes for us to realize it is up to us. And as Capricorn rules time, the time it takes to accomplish something, Jupiter represents the opportunities that we may be presented with, good and bad. So Capricorn wants us to get in touch with and to accept both the good and the bad parts of ourselves. So we may find that we are being presented with many of the same situations in order for us to get it right. So my advice is to become aware of reactive and proactive behavior and open up to the idea that we might be delusional or self-righteous. And until we can really develop a good sense of what's reactive or what's karmic, we need to work with the spiritual guide or a teacher, again ruled by Jupiter, to help us really decipher what that difference is. So with this transit, we also really need to become aware of the connection between codependency and destiny. So Jupiter is a planet that helps us to reach our destination with mercy and grace, yet Capricorn likes to work on a schedule, so there's a little bit of an incompatibility here. As stated, one of the greatest blessings in this world is that we have the freedom to make choices, yet what most of us think of choices are really impulses and propensities and reactions. So in relationships, for example, when we are making plans with other people, sometimes our free will to be is being used to be codependent. So what happens is that we create a karmic chain to the situation or to the person or to the illusion where we need to take care of that karma at some point in the future. And thus we know how to consciously discreate karma with atonement, which you can find on my landing page. So as long as we are codependent, we are spinning around on what's called the wheel of fortune, again, connected to Jupiter, until we reach a place where we want to be held accountable for our codependency so we can clear out our karma. So, and during that, the best attitude to have in these karmic situations is to elevate others while we are cleansing ourselves. So we should always elevate others anyway, with or without karmic, attachments. Because we might just need to be in that situation for some cosmic reason that we're not aware of. So in other words, if you made codependent plans, then you have to pay your dues and fulfill them by elevating and commuting to the karmic situation until it's complete. Or the other option is that you can run from it, but that's just going to create more karma. It's going to create a lot of problems down the line. So really, you guys, in essence, we can only ever be codependent with our own ego. So if we can kick that, then we can prevent codependency in relationships and rather establish healthy attachments within them. And Jupiter and Capricorn can be a really fun time of great expansion and playfulness if we can work with the archetypal energies in a way that transcends the challenges. So we will see with Jupiter and Capricorn, we will see our efforts manifested with ease and permission. And some things that I want to suggest is, because Jupiter is associated with the heart vortex, which is the English word for chakra, I'm going to guide, you can sign up for a Jupiter in Capricorn meditation, which you can use throughout this whole transit. It's a great way to help balance the energy. You can also use the heart vortex essential oil blend, which is connected to Jupiter. And you can also spray what's called the Capricorn room spray, which is all natural essential oils that are connected to the sign Capricorn. And then when you put on the oil onto your heart vortex, and then you spray the spritz around you, then it's like Jupiter transiting through Capricorn. So you can put it on your chest, spray it in your aura, and it's just amazing. Some gemstones are, because amethyst is connected to Jupiter, and then diamond is actually connected to Capricorn. But if you can't go out and afford a diamond, or if you don't have diamonds, you can use a Herkimer diamond. So you can use that throughout the transit as well. And also you want to be aware of bones and teeth and nails, because bones are connected to Capricorn. They're also connected to the father. So get ready to heal some father themes, or perhaps even go around with those wheels. And you can book an astrology balancing with me to help you with any kind of health goals that you might have throughout this transit. So in ending this video, if you want to sign up to the Jupiter and Capricorn meditation, just I'll put a link in the description below, or you can check it out on my website somewhere. And I want to just give you 4 tips for 4 challenges about the collective pulls that you might feel. So the first pull that we might feel is believing in everything that you see. What you can do to pull out of that is to remember that it's all an illusion. Okay? The second pull that you might feel is editing truth into my truth. And what you can do to pull out of that collective pull is submit the small mind to greater understanding. The third thing is fear of success. So what you can do is ask yourself what you've got to lose if it's all an illusion. And the last thing, like at least that I'm putting here, it's not like ultimate, but is blaming others for your failures. So instead of focusing on what you lost, trust in the universe. Okay? So I wish you guys a wonderful Jupiter and Capricorn transit. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. Comment. Let me know what's going on. You can book a reading with me, or you can do the meditation throughout the whole year. Like this video, be sure to subscribe, and thank you for being the one who makes a difference by using Astrology. I'll see you guys next time, and have a wonderful transit.